Good morning, world. Welcome to the Champions Coffee podcast, where every week we have coffee with an education professional who is out there on the front lines, championing students to be all that they can be. My name is Ben Hallett. I am your host, and I am the co-founder and CEO of Vygo. And for those of you who are just learning about us, Vygo is a student support management system, and we help universities connect their students to their support services, be it tutors, mentors, counselors, anything in between. And at Vygo, we really believe in the people behind these different services and offerings, and the people who are making these tick and bringing them to life, which is why we do this podcast and we celebrate them. And today, I'm very excited for our guest. She is she's joining us on Vygo's Mentor Academy Academic Council, which is kicking off quite soon. Now, today we have Jess Luquin. She is a qualified social worker with experience working with students from low SES and disadvantaged backgrounds who are in high school and in university. In her current role, she is the team lead for peer support in the UNSW student experience team. Her team aims to ensure that every first-year student at UNSW has access to a qualified first-year mentor. She's also worked on targeted interventions on different cohorts of students, facilitating support and inclusion through data analysis, connecting, mentor training, and resource building. Notably, she's implemented online peer support at UNSW, which is an accessible, convenient, non-confrontational way to at empowering students, help-seeking behavior from students, which I'm very excited to talk about today. It's something that's, I think, been going quite interestingly during COVID. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Jess. Hello.
Hey, Ben, how's it going?
It's going well. It's going well. I forgot to ask beforehand, but do you have a tea or a coffee?
I have a coffee. I have a
awesome.
trusty Nespresso.
Oh, nice. That's a bling mug you have.
It's a nice mug, right? Country road.
Oh, true. Nice. I think, my one, before Vygo could afford our own mugs, I just put a sticker on it and make it a Vygo mug.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. All right. So, I mean, let's jump into the questions, shall we? So, Jess, I'd love if you could tell us a little bit more about yourself and where you fit into the education space.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for that introduction. I feel like you said it all there already, but just to kind of, build on that. So I have done a Bachelor of Arts and Social Work, and most recently I've just completed a certificate in Executive Management Development. So I'm the team lead for peer support at UNSW, and currently we report to the manager of student experience. And more broadly, this fits under student life and community, which reports up to the DVCA. So within our team, we have three streams. We have a leadership development stream, we have an orientation stream, and we have a peer support stream. And each of those streams work together to really support the students coming in their first year, but also transitioning through their first, second, and third year in that leadership development space.
Yeah, awesome. Okay. And I guess, what motivated you to jump into the education space in the beginning? What life experiences motivated you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I definitely wasn't someone at uni who stuck around and volunteered. And in fact, I often like to tell my students, I actually did fail a couple of subjects in my first year. And it's just that, and it's just that, going from high school to university, it's impossible to know what you want to do with the rest of your life. So I eventually found an area of interest, and my journey led me to work in a school for Year 9 and Year 10 students with behavioural disabilities. And then I also had a kind of little bit of a role at the Department of Human Services as well. Most recently after that, I've been at UNSW. So I've been at UNSW for 7 years, and in this particular team lead role for 1 year, although I've always worked within the student kind of development and transition space. Mm-hmm. I think my main motivation for staying in this space is that I'm lucky enough to never be doing the same thing. I'm continually learning new and innovative ways and creative ways to add to an experience a student has when they come to university. And I think I'm really lucky in the fact that UNSW has been smart enough to really invest in the area of peer support. We're often looking up other universities, and there'd be kind of one staff member that deals with peer mentoring or peer support. And I'm so lucky to have some staff members that help in this area, and to have a whole team that looks at the student experience. And they bring a whole lot of experience in the roles that they've previously been into that experience space for students. So I think that's really my main motivation to staying where I am, and probably not going to leave the space anytime soon, because I do have that ability to really be creative and really be innovative in the work that we do.
Yeah, I think it's so exciting how much UNSW is investing in peer learning. Like, I'm very biased, but I really do believe it's the future of how universities will handle its, most of it, the bulk of its student support services. I mean, if we can unlock the student community to support one another, it's not only good for the students, it's much more cost effective for the university, but then also students are getting all the education, the learning out of mentoring somebody else as well. And, really creating that unique experience at their own university. What is the UNSW experience? And yeah, very biased, but very keen.
No, I absolutely agree with you. We have these resources that we just don't use enough, and they're our students, and we need to use them more.
Yeah, and the secret is they want to be used too. I mean, that's a bad way to say it. They want to be a part of it. They want to give back. They want the UNSW experience.
They do. Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess, during your period as the team lead of peer support, you've been hit with some pretty interesting times. I mean, I know UNSW, it transitioned to trimesters last year, and then this year it was all about COVID and everything that came with that. Can you tell us a little bit more about the types of activities and services that you're currently involved with, and maybe how they've been evolving over these periods?
Yeah, for sure. So my team and we've made the decision to kind of change the name from peer mentoring to peer support, and it's really about that transition, helping first year students transition into university. And so my team provides the centralized training for all of the senior mentors who are helping first year students with this smooth transition into university. You could say, despite the challenges this year, we were still able to train more than 1,000 senior student mentors across 35 first year programs. And my team really does support the coordinators that run these programs. So the coordinators of these programs could be a staff member within a faculty. You could have a student as part of a student society wanting to start a formal peer-to-peer program. And so, we kind of have to look out for both students and staff, and how can we make the experience of the mentor training consistent across the board. In helping our coordinators, we want to make sure that they can run their programs and make them as engaging as possible. Really easy to run, because often staff and students, this isn't their full-time job. They're doing it on the side as part of a club or society, or they're, a first year experience staff member within a faculty, and they're running a peer support program on the side. So we needed to make it easy for them to run, and also really easy to evaluate the success of these programs. And so we have a pretty comprehensive evaluation framework that we embed right from the beginning all the way to the end, and we help the coordinators evaluate each of their programs, because none of them are the same. They're all going to be a little bit different, because they're all meeting the need of a particular student cohort. So other activities that we do is my team provides a few in-house programs for our first year peer support, and this includes our online chat via peer support, which is we call kind of our online peer support. We also provide a mature age peer support program and a disability first year program. Yeah, so the disability one, we've just piloted in T3, and of course, with the reduction of student numbers, it's really hard to kind of measure the success of that program now. We're week 4 of T3, so in the next couple of weeks, we're really going to see some progress in that area. But nevertheless, it's set up for T1, which is great. We had over 50 students put their hands up and say, actually, I'd really love to be a mentor to another student with a disability. and how do I get involved and how do I do it? And so really great to see that current students, even in this climate, still want to give back, which is amazing. So I think some notable success of my team is that we see peer support and online peer support as a way to connect with most of the UNSW students. This service is offered after hours. It's, as you said in the intro, it's confidential, it's non-confrontational, and it's accessible to all domestic and international students, regardless of the time difference. So the reason why we run it after hours is because, we know students are busy during the day. That after hours, kind of 4 till 8 p.m. Is the time where you kind of time to yourself. You might be on the bus on the way home from a job. And so it's accessible via your mobile phone. And if you're overseas as well, that time difference can make a real difference and a real impact in the way that you connect with the university. You're also connecting with a senior student mentor and not a staff member. And so, students just have this level of, you could say, tacit knowledge that us as staff just don't know. I don't know how long it takes to get from, a particular lecture in a particular subject, how long it takes. Well, for now, how long you have to be logged on to Blackboard, Collaborate or Zoom to attend the lecture and that kind of thing. What the buses are like, all of that kind of stuff that contributes to students' holistic experience while they're at university. So kind of defining the success of that initiative and each of the programs that are run for first years is really difficult. They're all run quite uniquely, you could say. But we do ensure that we gather data and feedback, and most importantly, we ensure we keep students and their needs at the center of very center of the work that we do. Within live chat specifically, we have 6 students as paid senior mentors that assist in providing feedback. We often ensure they feel part of our wider team and are genuinely contributing to the way that we build and grow this program. Because if we don't listen to them, we don't know what they want. And so, we're constantly growing and adapting and changes to, the university, changes to environmental, but also the industry as well. Staying one step ahead can be a really hard and time-consuming thing to do. But it does pay off and the rewards come, and you do see outcomes and successes in that way. That was a really long answer.
That's all right. And I think one of the really interesting things about what you said, I mean, one, it's interesting that UNSW has invested so much into the peer space. It's and I think but then also in your team creating that evaluation framework. I think one thing I found particularly interesting when I first spoke to you was the number of peer programs you're actually working with at UNSW. Where's that number currently sitting?
So it's about 35.
Okay.
About 35 programs. We've got, this time kind of last year, we said we want more programs, but I think the year has been the year it's been, and we're just focusing on really making the programs that we have now successful. So we're up to about 35.
Yeah, awesome. And man, I'd love for you to make that evaluation framework public at some point. It's something that I think everybody is really hungry for. Like, what is a good program? What is a good benchmark to set against? It's something that we're trying to build some resources at the moment. We're not quite there yet, but I think something that everybody could really benefit from, knowing what to measure against.
Yeah, absolutely.
And particularly when there's chat involved as well. I think that's been interesting. Like, peer support doesn't have to be this, we go to a cafe, we get coffee, it can be online, can be group, but then also, with technology now we can have more and more chat, but then what's a good chat between a student, and how should we measure that?
Yeah, exactly. And I think, you need to think of peer support more broadly than just running a program that is, a welcome and orientation week. And then, you meet up for the first, weeks 1 to 4 of term, and then you evaluate how that goes. And I think peer support is way more broad than that. And there's a whole kind of scope that we just haven't explored. And we really hope to do that in the next the next year if we can, about what actually is peer support. What does that look like? It's different from peer mentoring. It's non-academic. It's really that support hand-holding through transition to university. And, how can we broaden the scope of peer support?
Yeah, definitely. One thing that I want to bring out, I don't know exactly what it looks like, but I want to bring out the idea of peer coach programs and like study coaches. I reckon that'd be really cool. But my team's telling me not yet. We don't have any time. Okay. Next question. Let's is there a particular student success story that you and your team were particularly proud to be involved with that comes to mind?
Yeah, so being a relatively new team, we've formed for about a year now or so. I'm just really proud of the progress that our small team has made in, pulling together the peer support space, the leadership space, and also the orientation space, and the view that these three things can actually work together and contribute to a student's holistic development, smooth transition to university. So I think also really proud of the work we do with our colleagues in other departments that make our initiative such a success. So this includes our student association, ARC. Without ARC, it's really hard to push some of these projects and initiatives to the forefront because they just have so much input with students, and students know who they are, and that's really great. And so being able to work with them has been really beneficial, as well as our central comms team. So we've got a great comms team who, without communicating in the right ways to students, they can't find you and they can't find your initiatives. So that's been really successful this year. I think a real kind of collaborative success of our team, particularly the peer support stream, is that, T3 orientation had to be fully online as well as T2, and we learnt a lot from T2. And so in T3, with majority of our students still overseas, we were able to provide, in consultation with our orientation stream and in consultation with our ARC student society, these student life workshops, which followed faculty welcomes. And these workshops basically concentrated on the importance of connecting with your student community, joining a peer support program, or joining a club or society. And those workshops were so well attended, we didn't see any drop off. We did them all on Zoom. We had senior students who were mentors there talking about their experience. And I think students just want a way to connect with the community and want a way to belong to a community that we just saw so much success in that initiative. And another thing that we trialed this term as well, and this is the success of my two colleagues, is a callback initiative from a mentor. So you could go onto our live chat website and you could decide to either, so this is all for first year students who've just accepted their offers and have enrolled and might have questions about university, decide to either live chat with a student or book in a phone call, and we'll call you back. And we'll call you back after hours. We'll ask you a few questions. Would you like to know more about student life? Would you like to know more about, how to, still feel connected while learning is online, and a lot to do in that kind of support space. And we would filter those calls, because if they were more about academic, then, a staff member would take them and we'll forward them onto the right department. But, for the most, we had so many students booking in phone calls. And because it was a call back and they had it in their calendar, we actually had almost 100% success rate with our senior student mentors, who we pay to call back these students between 4 and 8 p.m. in the nighttime, and have a real genuine conversation around transition and support and what they need to do to first get started. So I'm really, really proud of that initiative, and really proud of the way that, the whole team's just been able to work and collaborate together for the benefit of students, which is awesome.
Yeah, I think that's really cool, and like an innovative tweak, because I guess that really helps then with your resource management and maximizing these paid resources that you're putting on, maximizing their time.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So I guess where do you? I mean, you're doing some pretty innovative stuff right now. Like, where are you going? What's your 3-year vision for the services or activities you're involved with? Where are we going?
Yeah, absolutely. So, how exciting. I think the most important thing here that I need to do is communicate the vision to the team, because I really invest in their ideas as well. And so, allowing them to see beyond 12 months, I think, can really help with organizing projects and initiatives that have real impact. And so often you need more than a year to show the impact of a program. So, this time last year, we said we want to connect every first year student with a mentor before they start university. UNSW has 15,000 students that start in T1, normally before COVID. And so, we would love to have done that in the way, but it looks like we still might be able to connect all students that start in T1 with a mentor. And so, committing to an idea or a project that's quite visionary or wide reaching, I think can be a real motivator as well to the team. So I think in 3 years time, in 3 years time, I'd still love to be exploring and evolving what's on offer. And I think peer support and what we offer right now is going to look very different in 3 years time, but I know that's okay, because I know we did the best we absolutely could at the time with what we have, and in 3 years time we're going to be doing the absolute best that we can as well.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so this is my favorite question.
Yeah.
What's a common misconception that you hear when it comes to student services or success or the experience space?
Yeah, I had to think about this one a little bit. I think I have two. So
Okay.
I often hear like a program or an initiative is only impactful if you have the numbers to back it up. But I feel like there needs to be a bigger focus on qualitative data and the stories behind an initiative and how you actually market and sell that to the university and the student population. And another one is the various ways about how people define success and what success is. And I think I've been to quite a number of conferences where they kind of explored this idea. And there is a number of ways that success can be defined within the confines and constraints of your organization, as well as the goals and aims of each initiative. So I think, an exploration around success more, but also being okay that success can be with a small group of students, or a really wide group of students. So yeah, I think that's for me for sure.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think, programs can build to be something, massive, with, lots of volume of students, but typically you're not going to see that in the first 6 months. So I think
definitely
very commonly we see people, we've got 2 weeks before semester starts. Let's do a 6-month trial of this program. And it's like, let's not, let's not judge it by this first 6 months too much.
That's right.
Things are going to not go to plan. The marketing's not going to come out for like a week later, and the mentor's going to need an extra week, and then whatever. Like, it's usually we see in the second semester or even the third semester where the program starts to really hockey stick.
That's right.
And come into its own. And then, when a university student, like, support for them could change their whole life. Support in the right moment could change their whole life. And on the university side, one student retained is, like, that's $40,000 of fees, throughout the year. So it's small numbers aren't necessarily mean to cancel the program by any means. I think you need to dive deeper into, is this actually helping students, a small number even.
Yeah, okay. Absolutely. Totally agree with you.
Who is someone who inspires you in the student success or education space, and why?
Oh my gosh, I couldn't think of someone. I don't think it's one person really. Okay. It's a whole range of things. I think it's really important to be constantly exploring the industry and connecting with others and actively seeking out development opportunities that are outside of your area of work. So this could be in kind of data analysis, design thinking, that sort of thing. And I think we often bypass the most important people around us, which is our colleagues that we work with every day, the people we work alongside. So I really feel like exploring the journey of your colleagues, you just forget what they have on offer. And often you can unlock a whole range of opportunities just by talking to, the people you sit with every day.
All right. Your team. That's a great throw.
Got my team.
Like, You're gonna have brownie points all day.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's we're getting to. I might skip the next one, or no, actually, we'll do both. We'll just have to do them quickly.
Okay. Sure.
What's a positive lesson that you've learned in 2020?
So I think the most important thing 2020 is that there's this invisible network of student support that often goes unnoticed, and that's at every university. And that's the knowledge that current students can pass on to first years. Yeah, and I think we've done a really good job this year about adapting what our team can offer so we can still enable this network to exist in the online space and grow and be sustainable into next year. So definitely that invisible level of support. Yeah.
All right. And final question, what's some advice or encouragement that you would give to a student about to begin their journey at university?
Yeah, I think there's just so much overwhelming information out there when you first start. Take the time to read and connect with a community. Try and find a community and appreciate all the amazing things that student life has to offer.
All right, great.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've truly gone over our 15-minute target, but I'm yet to hit that. So, Jess, thank you so much for having a coffee with me today and sharing your advice, your stories, and your visions. I'm so excited to have you on the Mentor Academy Academic Council.
Thanks so much.
I think you're going to bring so much to the table. And for everyone who's listening to this in post, this is episode 9 of the Champions Coffee podcast. Thank you very much for listening. And if you'd like to listen to more episodes or, past or future episodes, just jump onto the Vygo LinkedIn page or onto the Vygo website where they are all listed. So thank you very much. Thank you, Jess. And that's us.
Thanks, Ben.
All right.